Hello, dear friend at Kardec Radio. Here we are. We have missed you, but we're working for you on the behind the scenes to bring more and more of the good news. Of course, Kardec Radio is here essentially to nourish our souls because we need nourishment. And what is our nourishment? The true and sincere love for one another. What is good for us and give us new life is potentially good for you too. We don't impose, we just propose. And the proposal here today is to revisit how we can better take care of our children in this world. How can we best open our arms and extend new opportunities to the youth as well? For Kardec Radio here, we were given a proposal to complete in our 7th anniversary on July 4th. Actually, it's going to be July 6, 7, and 8 of this year, the first International Spiritist Youth Weekend. If you go to kardecradio.com, we have the whole information about it, the registration and everything else. This event is not about numbers. This event is about representatives of Spiritist youth around the world. And we have met with several of them, and especially the educators who will be joining forces with them. Some are parents as well. Some are team leaders from Brazil, from South Florida, from Northeast United States, from California, and other countries. They are joining us to help us put together a program that is unique. The superstars are Jesus and the teens. There won't be superstar speakers. No adults are going to give talks. It's all about them leading the way. Of course, in a very responsible way. It's going to be fun, but the goal is to work together to make that time so useful that after we end this program on July 8th, we're going to be releasing several different products that may enrich the lives of families around the world and give more tools to console, to guide, to redirect the lives of teens around the world, from the Spiritist youth to the world. After all, the central theme is Spiritist youth changing the world. And it's not going to be live streamed, no. So if you miss it, you missed it, because we won't be able to live stream for several reasons. One, because we don't want to make the teens feel uncomfortable. We want them to be very relaxed in the setting, the working on it. And we also want to invite you. So if you can't come, you won't know how it goes. Of course, we're going to tape it and we may release some edited material. We'll see. But the goal is really to be mindful. It's not about producing things to show to the world, but really making that a therapeutic moment for everyone. It's turning out to be quite unique, because the plan is not ours. The plan is of the Beyond. Yesterday we had almost 25 people joining forces and putting together, and everybody finalized it in a very high tone of excitement, and it's a teamwork effort that is happening as we speak. Some of these people are here with us today, but today we're focusing on other organizations that are dedicating themselves to give a hand to families, especially in their mission of educating the children and educating in the holistic sense of the world, not only giving cognitive solutions, but it's about the true nourishment for their souls. Faith in children. The founder, Raquel from upstate New York, is here with us, as well as one of the directors, Vanessa Godoy. They are going to be together addressing some of our questions. And if you have questions, of course, you can type in your question here, and we may be able to relay it to them. Okay, so let me open here so we can see them as well. Hello, Raquel and Vanessa. How are you?
Hi, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having us here with you. I appreciate the time.
The same. Thank you for having us and for us to be able to talk about our program. It's a joy.
It's a pleasure. it is a blessing. You know, the other day, somebody from Australia, who is a wonderful soul, Bisco, he wrote to us saying, you know, I work and I drive for my work and I listen to cardiac radio almost 24/7. And it's so good because it enriches my soul. So we know that cardiac radio is going places and helping people from around the world. And this is also for them. If you're listening to us and listen especially to this program on the Faith in Children organization, how about getting inspired, getting to know and multiplying it to other corners of the world, right, Raquel? Raquel, tell us, how did it happen? You have 4 children of your own, and you are a devoted mother,
Thank you.
not only, but how is it? What happened that made you feel like I need to create this organization with this specific mission? And what is specifically the mission you would like to share with the listener?
Faith in Children came from the feeling of giving back what I have received throughout my childhood. I had my family members and friends who had faith in me. Growing up, I was raised by a single mom, and my father was not around. So we faced a lot of financial difficulties and other struggles in life. So with that, I developed a lot of emotional issues, such as anxiety, depression, sadness, and anger. But I was so fortunate to have a family that gave me so much love and had faith in my potential as a human being. And therefore, I was able to be given so many different opportunities to grow up and follow my dreams. And one of the dreams was to give back to society what I have received. So when I moved to the United States, I was always very driven. I worked very hard at multiple jobs. I attended college, then I went on and I got a master's degree, and I met my husband, Chris, and we got married. We started a family, and the feeling of wanting to give back always followed me. So I shared with him one of my goals, and he helped to start Faith in Children. So then we did, and we started the nonprofit. We helped many children and their families with basic needs in different places in Brazil. And then we started helping a nonprofit orphanage called Lar de Maria. And we provided basic needs to the children and teens. And then also we helped for different years a spirited center that had a daycare and preschool for children in the community in Belo Horizonte. So we provided them with the basic needs and free preschool. Then we went on to help an institution for inclusion for children with Down syndrome and other mental challenges called Novo Rumo. We provided them with therapies, free therapies, and medical needs as well. And then we went on to help with Haiti. We helped families that were affected by the natural disaster. We provided basic needs for them as well. And then we partnered up with Fraternity Without Borders. In 2016, we helped them to raise funds to build wells and help the orphans as well. They do a beautiful job. We were honored to work with all of them. And so that's what happened throughout the years. But one important thing that happened in my life is that out of nowhere, the feeling that I once had, which was sadness, depression, anxiety, and anger, came back up. And I couldn't understand because the financial hardships, I did not have it anymore. The wonderful family that I was looking for, I got. The education that I so wanted to get, I also got. And I couldn't understand. So my husband at the time was practicing meditation and mindfulness. And he told me, Raquel, why don't you try? Give it a try. And I said, okay, I will, because I need to get to know myself better. And I did. So I started practicing. And after a few months, I realized how it helped me to get in touch with my emotions and other sadness that I had in my heart. And one day I was thinking, oh my God, mindfulness is helping me so much. Why not spread the word and spread this wonderful practice with the children and teens in New York? So I called up a friend of mine, Colleen Bergen, and I invited her to start a program with me. And she did. She helped us to launch the mindfulness education program. So we partner up with libraries and schools, and we facilitate mindfulness to the children and teens so that they can have a platform where they can get to know themselves, help with their feelings, build up self-esteem, deal with whatever anxiety, depression they're going through, and then also to become responsible citizens. And the program, it's beautiful, and I'm so glad with everything that I went through in my life that I was able to give back what I have received.
Wow, it's amazing. And I know now the organization has been growing and growing, and more people have been joining in to give a hand with their expertise. And one of them is Vanessa Godoy, right, Vanessa? So when did you decide to join in, and what exactly you have been mostly dedicated to doing at the organization?
Okay, so I'll go back a little bit to tell you I'm not with Faith in Children since the beginning.
Yes.
I've been volunteering since 2016. But I always had worked with children. My background in art in Brazil, I did theater, working with children. And here in the United States, I've been helping raise for the last 21 years some children. And I have an art program as well called ACE for Art. So I provide all this, I facilitate all these things throughout my life. And I met Raquel through our faith. We are spiritists, but we were never very, very close. We share common goals and in life, and but I was already working with Fraternity Without Borders, sponsoring a child. And when she asked me if I wanted to volunteer in 2016, we did a 5K run walk to help Fraternity Without Borders to bring some wells to the tribes. So from there, I started volunteering more and more. And a couple of months ago, she called me, and the people who know Raquel, she's like an amazing person, very upbeat and positive. And we work with her, right? I feel very honored that I'm now working with her. So she invited me, and she was very poised, telling me, just think about if you want to join us. So we had a meeting in my house with other people from the board, and it was an amazing experience. That first meeting, feel so right. We were talking the same language, what we wanted to do, and so it was very easy to just come in and start working. So I feel very honored, and I had the opportunity to work in the mindfulness program as an educator. So I've been in the field, and I know what the program is capable to do and influence the families and the children.
Wow, that's beautiful. So I know you have several different programs. One specifically is like the mindfulness. But would you like to share, Raquel, like a story or two about the impact of the program in the children and family lives?
Absolutely. Our program consists of different practices. We have yoga, meditation, mindfulness practices, and art. I can say that one of the child went after meditation session, went to the instructor and said, "Thank you so much, because I never thought that the feeling that I had inside of me," she was going through some challenges such as bullying in school, "I was able to deal with it in such a harmoniously and non-judgmental way. Thank you." And I told that to the instructor, and she was so happy to hear that her work touched a life. And moments like that help us to be able to be driven and to continue to spread mindfulness.
It's amazing when you're talking about meditation in children. I know maybe some listeners, viewers, parents in general, usually they don't believe it's possible to even teach meditation or mindful skills to children. What would you say to them, Vanessa or Raquel? Both.
Our program, it's a whole package.
Yes.
For example, you come in, the children sign in, and all the educators are very welcoming. And usually it's an hour program. So they do actually two classes usually. Or they do a meditation class for half an hour, 20 minutes, and then they go and do our art program after. So it's not, because when we think about when we think about the mindfulness, how to be mindful, we think that we are going to spend hours meditating or doing deep breathing, right? And the goal is not that. The goal is to bring the awareness of the child, of the inner state. So meditation it's done in a very, and I've noticed, I've been there with Raquel in the meditation, for example. And there is a way to teach kids how to meditate, to do a deep breathing technique, to calm themselves, to go into a visualization for a meditation. So there are techniques, and that's the idea, right? To teach them techniques, how to be aware of the moment, of the present moment, right?
Yes. And then some parents, they ask me, "Raquel, my child cannot sit still. Are you sure you're going to be able to do it?" I'm like, "Yes, he will." And one of the parents came in after meditation session, and the boy fell asleep after the meditation.
Wow.
And she goes, "Oh no, I have to take a picture, because this is please go take a picture." And then after the class, she asked, "How did you do it?" And I said, "Simple. First, we have to be in a present moment with a lot of love, with no judgment, and with purpose. And then we engage with the child. If the child has a lot of energy, that perhaps ate some sugary food before class, which we ask not to, at least 2 hours prior for the classes to start, we do mindful movement. So we get them running to let out their energy, to get in touch with their body, their breathing, their heart rate. Mm-hmm. And then after the mindful movement, then they're able to concentrate much deeper. Mm-hmm. And that's how we do it. This is one of the techniques that we use.
You know, one of the other issues that usually we encounter, and you mentioned it briefly, but we want to address that as well, because at Cardiac Radio we have been receiving messages requesting, "Oh, can you dedicate programs to understanding bullying and what to do, and exactly how science and spiritism can help us out." And it's one of the issues as a psychologist as well that I see when I study neuroscience. Bullying nowadays, we have enough evidence that it's so hurtful, that it changes not only the neurochemistry, because it induces a form of stress, changes the hormones, but it changes the constitution, the anatomy of it all, in the sense of not that we're going to have an ET brain, but we're going to have a physical alteration that may be long lasting, inducing to lower levels of self esteem and a future propensity to drug addictions as well. So, how would you say that Facing Children with the program is helping parents and their family address it's a social concern regarding bullying?
Yeah. What we do as well, we have a workshop for parents. We believe as an organization that we should also bring the parents and caregivers into mindfulness so that they can start with themselves, learning their feelings, and then they're able to bring mindfulness to their to the environment that they live or their work. I believe that when we work as a team, we are able to talk about such issues. Therefore, I think I think it's very important for parents and caregivers as well with the children to have a conversation with them, to talk about bullying, how it affects themselves, how it affects society, and with non-judgmental, right? Not judgment, and with love and kindness, be able to explain to the children how they can calm down when bullying happens in school. And if they feel like their children are perhaps behaving in a way that's hurting others, how can you, with kindness and love, guide those children not to do such things?
Yeah, also, I have to say, participating a little bit in the program as an educator, for example, I remember I've taught one class in art and the inclusion. And that class was so many different kids in there. Kids with full potential for art and some with problems, psychological problems, right? Was that one with the Down syndrome? No.
Yes, we had some.
Yes.
And different children.
And when you're exposed in the program, and one of the things that I felt is the kindness and the inclusion. And I have, in my art program, I always say that, and I always say there is no mistakes in art, right? There is no mistakes in life. Everything is a process. So and every time the kids there got very frustrated about the art because we were doing one project, and everybody stopped and we took a deep breath. We have the ring a bell. Yeah, and everybody took a deep breath. And we start over and we do it. And at the end, they were so happy that the art was so different. And we had one goal, but they were so different and they were beautiful. And I feel that class, I felt like such a different group. Everybody accepted the differences with kindness. So, and the technique that we are teaching when we are frustrated, angry, we can calm down, we can breathe, we can be aware of our emotions at the time. So this is one part of the technique that we use in the mindfulness program.
Yeah, and we do a lot of positive affirmation as well.
Yeah.
For those who feel that they think that they're not good enough. We do a lot of positive affirmation, and we see different changes. The children with only 10 weeks, you see a huge difference in their lives and their behavior.
Yeah.
So the program that you do, for example, the mindfulness enriching program, gives parents instructions to bring some of the elements to their daily lives.
Yes.
It doesn't stay there in the classroom
Right.
alone.
That's the idea. That's why we are the last semester, Raquel start introducing the workshops, because we believe it's a group. It's not only the children, but the parents as well, right? And to be, I think Raquel told me one time in a class, a child didn't want to be there, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that, I think that is very important nowadays. We have to address the feelings that we are feeling. Usually we say, don't feel sad. No, stop crying, right? And and the importance of the program is, no, you have to be in touch with your own feelings to understand we are very complex beings. We are not, right? Very complex. And we want to erase that from the children. Don't feel sad. Don't, you have to be good. You have to be the winner. You have, no. So you can tell that story, because that is a very interesting story.
Yes. When I was teaching mindfulness practices, I asked, how are you feeling today? And I started with myself. Well, I feel very nervous because public speaking, it's not really my thing. And they looked at me like, oh, wow, she's nervous and she's teaching the class? I'm like, yes. But it's okay. I'm working on it and I acknowledge it. And one child looked at me and he goes, I feel like I don't want to be here today. I'm like, good. I'm glad that you feel that way. So now let me explain to you why it's important that we're here today. And it's amazing because they all started saying, oh, I'm tired, my back hurts, and engage with how they felt. And the class ended up being amazing. And the children, you're so more relaxed and much more engaged. So I think it's very important for them to be honest about how they feel, right?
And and with the parents, right? Because I feel usually I'm a mom, and usually we want our kids to be happy all the time, but that is not the nature of life.
I would say, Vanessa, that's a good mom's feeling, okay? Unfortunately, we cannot say that all the moms wish that for their children.
Yeah, I know, but we will say that will be the right feeling, right? A mother or a father to wish your child would be. But it's important too to teach kids that there are moments in life, and life sometimes is a struggle for so many kids, and because it's a struggle for us. It's what you do with that feeling that is important, and to be aware of that, aware of the present, because we are having so many conversations how nowadays technology, it's so great in their lives that they are not in touch with their own feelings. That's why I asked Raquel to tell that story, because it's important them to, how are you feeling today?
Exactly. It's interesting we're talking about mindfulness, because I remember one of our conversations here at Cardiac Radio was about this. Usually we know that to be mindful is to be in the present. But when you study biology, in our physiology, we have a system that is so perfect, that is prepared to protect us from difficulties, aversions, our autonomic system. So we have the flight and fight response. To be mindful in a non-pleasant, uncomfortable, and even aversive path or moment or day is hard. So to be mindful is to find the pleasant in the present.
Yes.
So here at Cardiac Radio, we have been saying this. To be mindful is to also teach our children to find the pleasantness in the present and start finding the good. So That's one of the things that we have been discussing. And when Raquel mentioned about as well, the work of positive affirmations, neuroscience nowadays tells us clear cutting all the findings, specifically at the General Mass Hospital of connected to Harvard University. We have several neuroscientists. In one of them is Srini Pillai, who has been at Cardiac Radio. He has been leading this research, showing to us that visualizing the positive and doing positive affirmations, as Raquel said, in 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, can really change our activation of the brain and also the gene expression. So it's a real physiological consequence. Sometimes you tell people, repeat this affirmation. They're like, really? Is that going to change my life? But you've seen it, right? With children.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with the body image. We do a lot of positive affirmation so they can affirm to themselves, I am beautiful. I am perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to tell us one of the exercises that you do?
Yeah, so that's what we do. And they leave feeling, wow, am I really perfect? Yes, you're perfect the way you are. And we're all different, just like different pieces of the puzzle. We're all very important and we're all very needed.
Yeah, and that is, I feel that is the important thing for the community building. Yes. And we talk about one of our values is one world awareness. I'm sorry. We like world awareness.
And we need everybody to share with the world their gifts. And why be shy about it? So in order for them to do that, they have to be very comfortable on their own skin. They have to have no judgment towards themselves, and they have to be very kind as well.
Yeah, and it's a process, right? It's a process.
It's a practice. You have to do it every single day, just like a prayer, right? You pray in the morning, pray in the afternoon, and nighttime, or even better, I tell the kids, I understand you don't like to do mindfulness practices, but do you like brushing your teeth? And they're like, no, I don't like that either. But you have to, right? Yes, I have to. Why? Because if you don't, you get cavities and other problems. Yeah. So, and so they can understand the importance of practicing mindfulness.
That's beautiful.
And then we provide a lot of outlets. It's not only deep breathing or meditation, but it's a lot of art. Yes. It's fun. It's fun with theater and fun and painting, drawing,
hands-on activities. Yes. We do a lot of puzzles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
So what are the perspectives for this new year that is going to begin? I know you just completed 1 year. Now it's going to be vacation.
Going towards our 30th year of the program.
Oh, wow. So what are you proposing for this next semester?
Yes, this next semester we want to focus, be very mindful of what we're doing so that we can make the program awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Awesome. Because perfection, sometimes, right? We cannot get it perfectly, but we can make it awesome. And I want the children and the families to have a great time, get to know themselves, and build a community of awareness.
Yeah, I think what Raquel, because I just joined the board months ago. So I'm learning a lot of things, even though I worked already for the program. But one of the things about Raquel, because was her dream, I'm going with her because we had the same goals in life. We believe it was so wonderful that we were talking about charity. Without charity, there is no salvation. There is no growth, spiritual growth. And that is what leads us in our lives. We want to be in service. We want to help to change a new point of view, how to become more one world awareness, build community, ethical conduct with the kids, with the children,
So
right?
Think
Yes.
critically.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Self-awareness, emotional intelligence. So all those values, all that, these are very important for the program. So we are trying to make it awesome that way every time and now she had this idea of having the workshop with the parents. And I told her, this is wonderful.
Yes.
Because we have to partner with the parents. We
Yes.
can't. And we can do it in an hour once a week. Has to be something that will be put in practice daily in their lives.
Yes,
right?
and Vanessa, we have starting June 18th. We are having a mindful reading on the beach, and followed by a sundown guided meditation for the parents, and all the programs are for free. And we are also having a mindful walk for the family, for the entire family on Saturdays, starting on the 18th as well, until our next semester starts back again in September. So it's going to be 2 wonderful months of mindfulness.
And it's so important for parents. When you talk about parents, it's, empowering them. The other day, I was, stopping by at a kids club at the gym, and then one of the parents got the baby and said, "Oh, stinky baby," to change the diaper. And I'm like, where does lower self-esteem begins? When you change the diaper.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't say it, because the brain is recording stinky diaper. I am a stinky diaper. So since the beginning, you're listening to that recording. I'm not convenient. I'm not good enough. Look at this. So empowering the parents is certainly inevitable and essential, right?
Essential, yeah. I agree with you completely. So that's, but this is like Raquel's being guided, the whole thing. I said, perfect. This is what we have to do. So I think the new step is to focus on the children and the parents as well, right?
Right. And really create a strong base, so that from there we can grow.
That's beautiful. So for those who are not in your area, because you're located in New York, in the state of New York, but for those who are listening to us, they're in other places, no pressure to you, but what could you possibly offer to them? Do you have a plan already?
Yes, at the moment we are talking about creating YouTube videos so that parents and children could practice at home.
That's nice. That's great.
Yeah, that's our goal. We are starting because, as Raquel said, Faith in Children took a turn with the mindfulness program. So now Faith in Children devotes the efforts to bring this program. So we want to expand the program. We have lots of goals and plans for the future. We don't want to say anything right away, because we want to one step at a time.
Be mindful.
Be mindful. But that's one of the things that we spoke about, creating videos, small videos, like very little about technique and practice. Yes.
So, there is one more thing. Some listeners at Cardiac Radio, because we also are connected to the Spirited Support Group for Parents, they ask about possible ways of raising such awareness in schools. Do you also have any proposal or plans as Faith in Children reaching out to schools to help them as well in some way and form?
Actually, now we are speaking with one school district, and the principal is very interested in bringing mindfulness to the school. So we are speaking to the president to facilitate and sponsor a mindfulness program there. And let's see what happens. Our goal is to spread mindfulness as much as possible and reach as many children and teens as possible.
That's beautiful. You see, Karina Alice is there in Brazil and she's studying psychology. Pretty soon she's going to be graduating and she's saying she would like to learn and spread it in Brazil. There you go.
Karina, just send us an email, info@faithinchildren.org, and I'll be more than happy to teach you some techniques so that you can bring to wherever you work back home.
That's beautiful. So, Raquel and Vanessa, I'll give you a minute or two to share your final message to those who are watching us or will be watching on demand, listening to us as well, so they get more inspired to join this beautiful philosophy that you have been working on.
Yeah, I would say that, especially for parents, don't forget to hug yourself. Hug yourself and say, I am enough. I am good. I am a wonderful parent. I am loved. And I will spread love in my household with no judgment. Whatever you did in the past, it's in the past. Come back to the present moment and know that you can make wonderful changes now and create a better future for yourself and for your children and your community as well.
Vanessa, thank you, Raquel.
She said so beautifully. To say, what I would say for the people who are listening and they have children or they want to be more in service and to grow in life, I would say, without charity, there is no growth, or without embracing humanity, there is no goal. We live together. No one grows by themselves. We need one another. We need support. We need love. We need acceptance. We need forgiveness. We need indulgency. We need all the tools to create a better society. And everything starts at home. So I can't, or Raquel cannot talk about those things if we don't live in harmony with our families. So we can see the future if we don't really are in peace with our family, in peace with ourselves. So everything starts with you. And we have to tell that to children. Sometimes children are bullies because they are angry. They don't accept themselves. And this is what Raquel said is very important. We have to teach those things to children. They are important. They are part of the society. If we want to have a better world, we have to start in our own house, loving, accepting, forgiving, and trying to live in harmony. Because we are different. We are very complex creatures. But at the end, we cannot live by ourselves. It's more like we are sharing now and sharing. I share my life now with Raquel with this goal that we have. And my life became it's fuller. It's more happier. Mm-hmm. So I think people have to engage in things that they can bring to the world, and especially with the children, they have to be present, right? We have to be present with our children, to be a part of their lives, part of their emotions, part of that fears, and it's very important. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Raquel, for making yourself available to share this wonderful news. And thank you, Vanessa, also for sharing your time and bringing to us so much the beautiful proposal of faith in children. Thank you so much. We hope this is just the first time in future opportunities when we could bring you to Cardiac Radio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So friends, what a joy, right? What a joy. You see many people are like, oh, the world is getting so complicated. I say, there are many good things in the world. We just need to focus on them and make a decision. Every day I have a choice. The choice to do the good, to feel the good. And that doesn't mean we're not going to see the problems. As a psychologist, we see the problems, but we don't focus on them to guide us. We just say, oh, well, like a doctor, a medical doctor, they study the diseases to focus on health. And that's our goal. We're identifying the issues so we can correct, we can educate. And Cardiac Radio is here. We have our programs, Cardiac Radio for Kids, led by Carol and Mark Smith. They have been doing this for more than 2 years. Fantastic works. I test every week with Virginia, who is 4.5, and just listening. She's like, oh, and it's so engaging. I'll never forget last year when we were at the symposium in Florida. And some children who were present got to know Karen and Mark were there. For them, it was almost like, oh my gosh, it's a superhero in front of me. So they are really doing fantastic work. We have Cardiac Radio for Teens as well, led by Bia Lopez, as well as Carol and Mark Smith. They have been working on several different ends to give a hand to the teens around the world. It has been more than 2 years in this effort. And this year, again, as we are reaching out to the youth around the world, we have the first International Spiritist Youth Weekend. And the goal is really to give them center stage opportunities, not only to express themselves, but to work. Because we're still young, but remember when we were younger, we had ideas, but nobody to listen. I remember when I came to the United States, 24 years of age, there was a man who believed in me, Jorge Godinelli. He's the current president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. He said, can you teach our children, including his children? I said, for sure. I used to do that in Brazil. I'll do it here. And other diplomats asked us to do the same, but other people didn't believe. And that's normal. But if we think, if we don't change it, the world is not going to progress as fast as it could. We have our hands in the pace of the progress of the earth. It's the way God designed it. So we need to decide to progress more steadily. And Faith in Children certainly has come to give a hand to the youth, the children who are willing to be listened, as much as our program in the first International Spiritist Youth Weekend. If you want more information about our event as well, just go to cardiacradio.com/spiritist-youth. And some people are like, I could help. Of course you can help as an adult facilitator. Today we got a call from somebody in Massachusetts saying, I want to help with the classroom for the little kids, siblings of the youth, so the parents can be in the workshop for themselves and the siblings can be, enjoying their teen time. I said, wonderful, welcome, please come and help us out. So if you want to join in, don't expect that we call you because sometimes we don't know where you are. But you're invited. You're invited as a team. You're invited as an adult facilitator. You're invited as a parent. All you have to do is to go to cardiacradio.com, send a message to us, either to the contact form or cardiacradio@gmail.com, and we welcome you. All the more, we have at this point at least 30 people who are engaged, 12 teens and 30 adults who are engaged in working on the behind the scenes. It's a real teamwork effort, and the permission we have is directly from God, nobody else. So welcome to join us at Cardiac Radio. This is it in a week from today, less than a week from today, Saturday, June 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be here for the second online Spiritist Youth Forum. The first one was a success, and the second is going to be ever more international. We have a group of teens from South Africa, from the Philippines, from the United States, from the Latin America, joining us for a beautiful discussion. So you see who they are and why it's worthwhile support them and give them empowerment to do what they need to do. So thank you so much, dear listener. And until Saturday, June 9th.